Well, well, well. Here we are. Hello, Bill. I see your message. I obviously must have missed that last week, and I thought at some point in the past I thought I went over to attempt to give. Hold on, I gotta pull up another window here. I thought I went over to give Scott a blue wrench. I was trying there for a while. Let me mute this. Okay, so I got it up over here. So when he hops in, I will do my best to notice, and then I will throw him a blue wrench. Like he does deserve. And he's not far from me. He's up here, kind of in between me and Fix It, and um, a couple other people here on the western side of Ohio. So at one point, one of the guys that won one of the giveaways a while back. I mean, this was quite some time ago now, I guess, but uh, Mike Brown, and it was almost funny to like ship it to him because he was like probably less than an hour up, like just straight north of me, where I was at. Up like the road that was like a block from my house at the time. I could just cut that straight up, and it ran through my town, and then somewhere up north it ran through his town. So I mean, I still mailed it to him, but it was funny that he was so close. It's not beer. I know I'll get this later. This question. It says it's beer. It's ginger beer. It's a non-alcoholic thing. Um, a really good friend of mine that I've been talking to a lot. Kind of, they mentioned it at one point, and then we were hanging out, and they had one. We ended up splitting it. It was like a bigger bottle, but it's it's different, but it's not bad. I kind of like it. I mean, obviously, when you want to drink something that's not water and not alcohol, your choices are limited. I don't know how much. It's probably packed full of sugar because it's sweet. Yeah, a little bit. Probably no more than soda, but it's not that bad. Um, I don't drink them like on a regular. It's just like something to have in the evening or whatever. Yeah, I can't give anybody a wrench unless they're actively in the chat because I have to go on YouTube to the chat and click on them and do it. And that's the other. I guess I probably could. I have to like link. I've okay. So here's the thing with Streamlabs, which is what I use here. You have to link your YouTube to be able to broadcast, right? With the stream, what you're seeing. That would seem like that's enough. No, like you have to do like another regular sign in or something to actually be able to chat. Like if I go down here on this software here and try to chat, it says sign in to chat, and I never have. Or maybe I did at one point and then it logged me off and I just said screw it. But I don't know if I did that. Well, I imagine it would give me some options there. And maybe I could give blue wrenches straight from the stream without having YouTube up in another channel. But that's, who cares? So, anyhow, I'll leave this up. That's going to be off to the side. How is everybody doing this evening? Um, it's been another week. They keep passing by. Like I was surprised. I woke up today. I was going through my routine, and then like it just kind of hit me. I think about probably about 9 a.m. I was like, oh shoot, it's Wednesday. These days pass by so quick. The weekends fly by. Interesting thing happened over the weekend. Um, I ended up getting my kids for the weekend. Well, they didn't. My daughter didn't go with her mother, and So then, because of that, there was this thing I wanted to take the kids to, but it wasn't my. It turned out it wasn't my weekend. So then, when I ended up with her, I went and made the arrangements, got my son, and I took them over to Indianapolis to a comic book convention, which was really cool, and the kids had a lot of fun. They really enjoyed it. I didn't tell them what we were doing, so we got to go stay in a really nice hotel downtown, which was a nightmare. The hotel itself was nice, but parking was crazy, and a bunch of other stuff. So it all worked out. It didn't ruin my trip, but um, they got to enjoy that, the hotel kind of experience, uh, and everything. So they enjoyed that. They didn't know what we were doing until we got there to the convention center. So then they start seeing everybody in costumes and things, and they had a blast. And we didn't make like a day of it. We got back here by I think about 6 o'clock or something like that. But we made a pretty good day of it considering. And yeah, they were tuckered out by the end. But lots of fun, lots of really cool stuff at the convention. I know most of you guys probably aren't necessarily into, a whole bunch of anime and comic books, but it was really fun for them, and we got to see a lot of cool stuff. They had like a whole like retro arcade setup. I forget who it was. Like what it was some kind of charity or something of that nature that sets up this giant area with all these free games to play. And they wouldn't even like take donations. I was asking at the table, the kind of people that observe and make sure everything's cool. I asked them like, can somebody make donations? Like, what the heck? How is this just free? And they're like, no, no donations, no nothing. It's just free. So that was kind of cool. The kids got to play some games and do a bunch of other stuff and take pictures with some of the I guess you would refer to them as cosplayers. But yeah, it was really fun. They had a good time. So that was a nice surprise for the weekend. But between everything else and then that barrage of a weekend and then this week, I've been busy at work, so time has just flown by. Um, I will be in a documentary on YouTube. It has to do with a haunted house that I worked on many years ago. Oh, very interesting, Bill. Very interesting. That I would like to see. So one of these days, when they actually get the video up, edited in public, um, make sure to get us a link, and then on one of these Wednesday chats, drop it in. And I definitely want to check that out. That sounds interesting. How'd they reach out to you for that? Like, because that seems like, knowledge that may not necessarily be public. They, like, tracked you down because you had worked in the house before? Hmm. I've had my share of spooky houses. Most of them, I will say this, it seems to be something with what I will call the old world, because a lot of these new houses don't you don't hear as many stories like that anymore. But like a lot of the old houses, old things that kind of had energy and things like life in them, um, these things that we have today feel, by comparison, kind of soulless. Like there's not much to them. They're cookie cutter, this and that. Like some of these older houses, have a lot of history, have a lot of things that have transpired. Families, generations have grown up in the same house and things. So uh, it is interesting to see that the old history versus what goes on nowadays. I mean, people don't even. I don't know of that many people that are in a generational house. Most people aren't. It just doesn't happen like that. That seems cool to do a spooky house. I mean, yeah, it depends though. I wouldn't want to work in one by myself. I mean, when I was a kid, we had a house, and it seemed like there was some stuff um, going on in that house, and it was weird. It was very weird. And then, this is like the 80s. 89 maybe? I'm like 5 or 6. I'm outside playing. It's dark. We moved. This was my parents' solution. Move out of the creepy house, literally, and for no other reason but because it's creepy. Move out of the creepy house. Move across the street. Across the street. So they moved across the street. Now I know it's like the summer. I don't know, like late summer, August, something like that. Um, and so it's already dark, or the street lights are on, and I'm just right outside the house. Uh, and so I know we just moved out of this house, like a few weeks prior or something. So nobody lives there. It's right there. There's no like real driveway. Nobody's there. And I see, and this is all before like LEDs and all the, funny light stuff that we have. You know what like the old stuff used to look like when a TV was on in a room? You'd see like a ambient light, it would kind of flicker and change color. It was kind of like that, except more like what you see LEDs now, like green, red, purple, like it just kind of like phased in between a bunch of colors, not like popping between, but like slowly fading, like that ambient kind of transition. And I'm outside riding my little scooter thing in the street light, just doing my thing. And I happen to look up at this creepy house that we had just moved out of, and there's one of these lights. And in the top, there were 3 bedrooms that were connected by doors, right? Like doors between the rooms, the bedrooms. Old houses used to be like that. And so I knew these 3 rooms that windows that face out were all the individual bedrooms, but there's a way to physically get in between them. And I saw this light just work its way from one room to the next, to the next, to back. And I'm sitting there riding my little scooter going, there's nobody in there. And even, like I said, at that time, I can't think of a light source. Number one, could be mobile between rooms like that. And when it's in one room, it's not in the other rooms. And then the other was the way that it changed light and how many colors it did. I don't know anything else besides like modern LEDs that have that kind of capability. Certainly nothing at that time. So it was a very strange thing. And then it just went out. And nothing. Like, nobody came out the house. Nothing else seemed to happen. That was it. But it was very strange. And I'm assuming the power was still on. Maybe. I don't know. I would assume it was turned off, or, active power to the house. But what could travel between the rooms? It was very strange. And I know I was young, but I vividly remember that as being like a what the hell kind of moment. So yeah, Bill says the owner and his operations manager put them in touch with me. The name is Spooky World. The current owners are in New Hampshire. Where's the house at, though? The owners are in New Hampshire. Where's the house at, Bill? Because I find that to be interesting. Because a lot of people don't necessarily believe in ghosts, and that's funny. One of the best quotes I ever heard regarding ghosts and I guess like the paranormal, and I think it specifically referenced ghosts. I'm obviously ad-libbing here, but it might have just been like more like paranormal. But I believe it was, I always think of it in like ghosts specifically and spirits. Somebody said, you don't believe in spirits until you don't have to believe in spirits anymore. Like, in other words, you've seen something, you've heard something, like some indistinguishable, like, there's nobody in the house and somebody just spoke to me kind of thing, like something like that. And I always thought that was funny because it's true. Like everybody, denies the existence on a general scale until they experience something, and then it's they're the ones that, oh, you can't tell me any different. So it's very interesting how that stuff goes. Anyhow, it's been another week. Not much happened. That's also why I had promised you guys I was going to try to shoot videos. We were behind Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Aha. Um, so I told you guys I was going to try to shoot videos over the weekend, and that's also one of the reasons why I didn't get to. I ended up having the kids, which, hijacked my weekend for a lot of good purposes. But yeah, so I didn't get anything done there, unfortunately. Life just won't quit hitting me in the teeth when I'm down. It's just, every time I think I get a moment to breathe. I took some time off of work. I took about a week off of work here in about another week. Um, so I am going to take some time off of work. We'll see what happens there. In the meantime, though, I'll try to do what I can. I've been to Harbor Freight recently, and I gotta say, like, that store is, I don't know, man. I don't think they're gonna make it very far, unless the only thing that might help them is if the economy just like completely turns upside down and they begin to drop their prices again, which would be hard for them to do. But they're gonna have to do something. They're becoming pretty much like every other tool store. There's not a whole lot of savings there, and I think we all kind of saw this coming to some degree. Um, they they killed the coupons. They've put a little bit more on the Inside Track Club. I don't even know about that. I pay for a membership, and I'm not even using it. I haven't even been searching for tools, but it seems like they're trying to do a little more with the Inside Track Club, but again, you got to pay for that. Is it worth it? Yes, I have 2 videos on that, especially the one after the uh, like the no coupon. You just get the price on the Inside Track Club. You don't have to fool with it. That's very nice. And my first and subsequent experiences with that were much more pleasurable than they were before. But I don't know. I went in there, the store felt kind of soulless. Um, it didn't have like this. I used to walk in there with like a little bit of wonder and excitement and kind of like walk around, see what's going on, what's new, like it was kind of exciting to some degree to kind of see what was going on. Now there's nothing. I mean, not much of anything that really catches my eye or seems different. Um, and definitely not a whole lot of savings. A few things here or there, maybe, but I didn't see anything that was remarkable in terms of pricing. Even the Inside Track Club stuff, yeah, I always check that stuff out, and I didn't see anything that made me like really bat an eye. Uh, it's it's kind of unfortunate because I mean they were on a good roll. I think they got greedy. I think they tried to put out higher quality products at a much higher cost. Anyone who pays, what was it, $700 for that, it's like a 7 drawer. It's like the Super Tech Cart thing, the full drawer setup that they got, the new one. Anyone who pays like I want to say it is like $700 or 600, something like that. It's ridiculous. Whoever pays that for that is stupid. I mean, yeah, it's just that little bit of extra drawer space for what they're charging for. I don't see it, and it just goes to show that like they've built up such a name with the tech cart that they're trying to then force that into other stuff. I mean, a lot of people like the U.S. General toolboxes, and see, and that's the thing that too I don't understand with them. You have a good thing, just build on the good thing. No, they have to go and get greedy, and take the entire thing and revamp it into the icon to try to compete with. And I get what they're doing, but nobody, not many people. I still, how long has it been? I don't know anybody with an icon toolbox. I've not heard of it. I've not seen it. There's not a whole bunch of people buying them on YouTube for reviews. Why? Because they're too damned expensive. Anybody who's going to drop that kind of money can get secondhand Snap-on, Matco. Name your pick. I mean, you can get Kennedy. Get a nice Kennedy setup. I mean, you'd have to configure it to get something that big, but you have a lot of other options when you go up into that price range, and I just don't see. I'm not saying it's a bad box. It's not in the same price range. Like once you get up in there, it's like a lot of the Acuras and things. They still get sales, but Acura, Lexus, a little bit, Infinity, like they're nice and they're the luxury versions of a lot of other things, but there's just not that many more bells and whistles. You basically, to buy something of that nature, you almost have to have money to burn. Now there are a couple exceptions. Acura does make a few nice sports cars. I heard they're bringing the Integra back. Looks pretty good from what I've seen. I don't know about the specs on it, but you tell everybody you're bringing back the Integra, and people start flipping out, rightfully so. So a couple things like that, but as far as like anything, you know, there's just it's not much. It's mostly aesthetics, bells and whistles, um, fit and finish maybe a little more. But once you get up in that price range, why buy like a pimped out Acura when you could get a really nice BMW or something for the same price? I mean, it's just you put yourself in another class, and then you're not now making a decision on, oh, the best thing at the Acura or Honda dealership uh, for this price, or the Toyota dealership for this price. You're comparing it to other things in that price range because you've priced yourself out of the normal market into that higher luxury market. Anyhow, so yeah, that place is it's going to be real interesting to see what happens with them over the next 5 years. I also think that the amount of stores that they open, I wish, I mean, I'm sure maybe somewhere if you dig far enough, I bet it wouldn't have the breakdown that we would like to see, but I wonder if you could look at like a chart of Harbor Freight stores versus like their profitability, week to week or quarter to quarter, whatever. It'd be real interesting to see how their expansion is holding up because they keep opening stores just about everywhere, which is good in theory. But those stores, the brick and mortar, it costs a lot of money to hold and run those. And I'm assuming the way that they build them, that they own the land. It seems like they do. Most of them are purpose built. Only a few are in like shopping centers and other things where they've taken an existing space that's probably a rental. So they usually try to own the land, and so there's a lot of overhead there, and their profit margins aren't very high. So if those start slipping, at what point are they going to start closing stores? And then, is that the sign of the implosion that's about to happen? It's just like Rome. They expand so far that the edges of the country don't know anything about what's going on in the rest of the country because they're so far apart. I mean, heck, if we didn't have constant news, the U.S. would be about the same way. We're actually very big. You know, how long did it take? It took like back in the day, I think they said it took like weeks and sometimes even months for the elections to get decided, you know, like presidential elections, because they had to physically get all the votes in from everywhere all across the country. Um, and that took time. Obviously, like the modern advents of like the telegraph and other things made some of that a little easier. But back in the day, it took time. Like things weren't decided, you know, on election day like they are now. Oh, everything's rising. Um, everything's rising, and you know, I'm getting uh, mildly concerned. Um, yeah, you know, I take the kids out and I still do fun stuff with them, try to spoil them as much as possible, but yeah, you gotta watch it because you can't, like, right now is a real uneasy time to be spending a lot of money or buying something you don't necessarily need. Like, now's kind of one of those periods where you should hold on to what you got, spend wisely, and kind of watch the horizon to see what's happening because I encourage all of you to go look around on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or eBay, whatever, for people selling stuff because it's all the recreational stuff. It's all the niceties. It's all the extra stuff. RVs, campers, ATVs, extra vehicles. People are extra furniture, stuff from storage units. I see people posting like everything. And everybody at some point just decided that everything was going to be expensive. I mean, I know inflation's rising a little bit, but you see it real heavy on. I was looking at a 2001 PT Cruiser that came up on my feed yesterday. I want to say 2001. Now it did look good for 2001. I'm not saying that. It looked like it didn't have a whole bunch of rust on it or anything. Paint looked like it was in good shape. It looked like it had been taken care of. They wanted 3,500. They had this thing listed for 3,500 for a vehicle that's 20 years old. Granted, it looks like it's in good shape, but we know what a 20-year-old vehicle is like underneath. Even if it has been maintained, it's gonna need some work. Uh, 3,500 for a half decent running vehicle. There are no $1,000 cars anymore. Seen somebody selling like a rolling chassis for like, and it wasn't even anything real nice. It was some basic car. I forget what it was, but they wanted like 1,500 for a rolling chassis, and it wasn't like a Fox Body Mustang or some old thing that you might be able to turn into something. It was just like a 90s something. I don't even know what. It wasn't anything spectacular, and they rolling chassis. I don't know if they were trying to sell it for a derby car or what, but there aren't any $500 cars anymore. There aren't any. I've seen cars they were selling for 2,000 that had blown motors, and they're still trying to get like 2 grand out of them. The thing don't even drive, and it's not. You know, not. It's older than 10 years old. Somewhere probably between like 10 and 15 years. Like they're not new vehicles. Um, and that's a sign of the times. I mean, you're talking people are wanting more for the stuff that they're selling, and unfortunately, you know, some people are paying it, and people keep asking it because they see other people posting stuff high, so the price just keeps going up and staying high, and that, my friends, is not good. I mean, we're having all kinds of supply chain issues and everything else. I feel like we're a good hop, skip, and a jump. It's not going to take much. Like we're teetering on a precipice at the moment, and it's not going to take much, hopefully, to push us one way or another. I'm hoping more so on the good side than the bad side, but uh, it's real iffy at the moment. So yeah, I'd keep your eyes out. Look around at what some of the people are doing. I mean, I've seen some people selling stuff for more than it costs brand new, and I don't even understand that. But I'm guessing they're hoping that whoever sees it and seems like they want it doesn't do any other research. Um, that because some of that stuff already existed. People trying to, like, we'll say scam, but like overprice something and hope they find someone dumb enough to pay it. But it seems to be increasing right about now. So yeah, yeah. You sold a PT Cruiser last year for 500. I bought nice cars for a grand. You know, plenty of them. My Fiesta. Besides all the work that I put into the engine and everything, rebuilding it, I only paid like 2,200 for that. It was in pretty good. Well, aside from the engine blowing up, it was in pretty good shape considering. Um, and at the time, that was a good price. Now, with it being fixed up, I mean, I don't have like official paperwork, but I rebuilt the motor. Um, for all intents and purposes, that thing is great for another, 100 and some thousand miles, probably at least. And I could probably list it right now for maybe 5,500, and I might actually get it. That's the scary thing, is just what's going on with the market right now is it's ridiculous what people are doing, and I just hope it eases up, because with everybody doing that, it shows me fear. People are getting rid of things they don't think they need, things that are nice, things that they don't have to have to survive. And I don't. It's interesting. Some of the stuff seems like it's moving, but I don't understand who's buying. You know, a motorcycle right now for 10 grand that they don't need if they already have a bike, or buying a four wheeler for like 4 or 5 grand when you can't drive that to work. Like, I don't know who's got that kind of money right now, and if they do, good for them. But I don't see how half of this stuff that people are listing is selling. I don't know who's buying at these prices. Just like, I don't know. Um, well, good evening, Josh. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, sir. It's good to see you. Hope all is well. I don't know who's buying a house in this market with the prices being so high. I get it. I get it. The interest rate's low. Yay. Yeah, the interest rate's low. Big deal. You save 2%, but you're paying, 35% more on the price of the house. It doesn't equate to savings. It is not a good buyer's market. And that too, I think right now, if you're buying a house, I think that's kind of a little more fear. It's kind of weird to be living in an apartment, you know, at times like these with everything going so crazy outside. You want some stability. I don't know if I want that in the form of $1,000 mortgage, you know? So, yeah, just be careful out there. Keep your eyes peeled. Watch what's going on. It's definitely very strange. And I know I keep saying this week after week. I hope you guys just keep attempting to pay attention and look around. It's not good. So anyway, we're about an hour in. We don't have too long. I will do what I promise. Well, not an hour in, an hour left, I meant. Well, actually, roughly less than that. So I will get over here to the Reddit, our tools, and we're going to go through. Somebody yell at me and let me know if Scott comes in so I can make sure he gets his blue wrench. Josh doesn't have one because Josh keeps changing his accounts every 5 days. New channel, who this? That's Josh. And Austin, like every other week. I have to keep up on who they are and what's going on. Wait, there we go. Add moderator. Okay, Josh can ban people now. So mind your P's and Q's. All right, so here we are. We are over on our tools, and um, yeah, so we got Josh Wrench. This guy is talking about a few days ago, and I don't know. We can talk about this. It feels like suspect. I don't know why somebody has to. I know where he got this little mat. He got that from the Dollar Tree. Ask me how I know. So this guy says he decided to buy some proper boots for doing work around the house, replacing flip flops, he felt the need to say. And today he dropped a running angle grinder on his foot and somehow only cut his shoelaces, which I'm not saying, it's not impossible. And I do see a mark down here. I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I want to know how you dropped an angle grinder on your foot. But as this guy says, gear up out there. It looks like he was that to me. What you see here in his not in focus picture, what's left of the disc, that is what I would say. Depending on what you're cutting, is you've already kind of went into the danger zone. I wear mine down. I almost wish that they would put a line on them, because the more you wear them down, the weaker they get, and you're compromised. Depends on if you know what you're doing, if you've put that blade under flex or whatnot. They're not very strong. We all know they're brittle, but once you wear them down so far, or you run them really hot, you've weakened them, right? So I don't generally run mine down that far. And again, I get that he said he dropped this, but like something transpired there. That thing looks like it's been through some stuff if he snapped it that bad. So we will kill that, go back one more time, and Pop-Tarts and kittens. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so this guy got the Nip-X trap here. The flat jaw adjustables and the channel locks. And he claims it's not worth the money, but he had to. And that's what they're betting on. Honestly, that's their entire bank, is hoping that people will buy these. Now, am I going to say they're not useful? No, I'm sure they have their uses, but are they super useful? No, they're not going to be the main thing that you grab for, but they are very nice. And if you got the rest of them, you might as well get these two for the few cases where you're going to need them. When the Phillips fits just right. Now that's again, man, people in their blurry photos, but that's pretty cool. The Wera. Wera's good stuff. You just can't argue with quality. That's impressive, though, that it can stick out that far on something like a utility knife. Like, that definitely is a good fitment. So, yeah, spend some extra money sometimes. Restoration project update finished. Okay, so what kind of finish do you think he put on this, and how well do you think he did? First of all, we're going to judge him. Well, we're assuming it's a him, but we're going to judge him. Let's pull up some photo evidence here. Come on, internet, don't fail me. Okay, the last guy was talking about suit up, right? Put your boots on, Bro is wearing socks. He's wearing socks, and not even normal ones, some funny looking ones. Alright, that being said, let's see what he did. So, okay, a couple pictures of the thing. Alright, the jaw's a little, that's typical. We like to see that. I wonder, what's that say? 1511? 1511J? Okay, you got. Oh, please tell me he didn't do something crazy to try to flatten that back out. Uh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He ground it down. I mean, it's not the worst thing you can do, but yeah, look, if we pull up here, you can literally see right there where he took it in something and like probably a belt sander and just flat. I mean, I'm not dogging him, but that's not the right way to do it. You try to add metal back in. I'm not, you know, real big on that. I mean, past. Oh well, actually, okay, that's encouraging. He knew he didn't want to go too far, and he only ground it down so much. Kind of cleaned it up. Still got the divot there. Okay, so like he didn't go full on crazy, right? But the other side did kind of look by the mating surfaces here. And this one a little bit too, just barely, but it looked like he had taken too much off of this side. Like, and that's where I wonder how actually flat it still is, and that's my main concern there. When you start trying to refinish a whole surface, I mean, if you're not milling it or doing something that's like really true on its flat, then yeah, you could and can run into issue. So he didn't do that bad. Still, I mean, for all of that, I would have tried to, I don't know, maybe not polish, but some of this. You clean it. But even here, looking at it, I know it's not a straight on photo, but just you can tell. Go back out. Even from here, I know the angle's not like a straight on, like I was saying, but you can kind of see the end of that just by looking at it. Something looks off, and I'm almost thinking on this side, again, it's just point of view, right? But it doesn't look straight. I'd almost be willing to bet that those jaws are like this now. So, they're not the most functional tool to begin with, but it's going to be a little less functional now. I mean, it's still great to clean it up. Hopefully, he's not going to bank money on necessarily using that tool, but yeah, look, here's what, here's what, somebody posted this. I don't know where the Lakeshore Drive is. Table saw piece of rust. It's funny. That's about the state of Facebook Marketplace and all these other places right now. Yeah, I really do. If you ever get the chance, if you like ginger ale and that kind of stuff occasionally, pick up one of these. It's like ginger ale on steroids. It's got a lot more flavor. Really tasty. Uh, Extensions for the win. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I guess he said something about adding solar. So that's the roof for sure. Maybe this is like a truss that he put in to bolt panels to. I'm not sure. But he felt the need to have to get in there, and he used extensions, the DeWalt 90 and another extension to make the job happen. I mean, if that's what you got to do, at least he had them on him, right? Uh, yeah, you got to do what you got to do in those cases. Anyone seen Scott yet? Scott's not here? Of course, not yet. The one time we're looking for him, he ain't showed up yet. Ooh, some Baco. Now those look pretty decent. I'm still a little, yeah, the heads are a little big. I started getting spoiled, man. Those, what were they? Power Built, I believe. The last actual set that I got, Were they power built? I think they were. Uh, Chris over at Client Graphics talked about it. The same set a little while later, but they are so thin in the head and small and like micro that the quarter inch is almost like a micro ratchet. It's just, I mean, it's nuts. It's so small. It almost looks like a toy. And then the half inch is more akin to what it's. I would argue it's actually about smaller, maybe marginally smaller than a typical 3/8. So they've really done some things with the sizing there, and I wish that more companies would follow suit. If we can start making tools smaller without necessarily compromising strength or quality, like let's do that. Like I'm all about using less material. Some of these old big head style ratchets, like we've been dealing with them for years and years. They haven't gotten much smaller. If we have the ability, like let's please, kind of upgrade this and make them a little more form fitting. New tool day. My son got a new toy depending on who you ask. Yeah, the kids love to play with stuff. My son comes in here because I have tools laying out everywhere, even though I don't do much often. I got my Michael Pro socket wrench set, the 3/8, the shallow socket set that I got from them. I have that sitting out at the ready. I love that thing. The flex on the head is very nice. And then just a whole bunch of other odds and ends. I got my Chemo electric ratchet. Got my Milwaukee M12 tool bag down there. Couple other things, some drill driver kits and things, stapler, hammer, just odds and ends, really. But I keep a lot of them out because when I need them, and I try to keep them at the ready. Uh, and I'll catch him coming in here and playing things. Or one day, I swear to God, I thought he was gonna hit his sister with a hammer, not on purpose, but that's the way it was looking and stuff like that. So I try to be a little more cautious, but he comes in here and he'll play with stuff or he'll drag it out, and I got to kind of keep an eye on him. Luckily, not so much with the power tools, but I don't keep blades and anything that shouldn't have them, right? Wrench drawer Wednesday. I'd have one set left to buy that I'd like, but don't need some E-Snappy adjustables. What kind of box is that? Anybody know? What's it say? Tool Vault. That's a new one. Okay. It looks pretty nice. I like the orange. It looks like the corners got guards on them, but look at the top. Hold on, let me get in there. Look at it's got little diamond etching all over the top. That's a pretty nice toolbox. I'm gonna have to look that up. Let's see. I wonder how much those run. Tool Vault. I don't know. Okay, they come from strictly toolboxes, it looks like. Okay. I've not heard a lot about them, but they do have some bigger ones. Where's the one that he got? Be a smaller job. Now, see, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know how some of this stacks up against, like, Snap-on or something, but look at this. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Okay, this seems kind of more akin to the Icon toolbox setup. That whole like 10 grand setup. You get it's 84 inches with the side locker, but you get the top hutch. This is a quad bay, 8 casters with what we're gonna call as the side locker. This general setup in the Harbor Freight Icon line costs you at least at the time, about 10 grand. I'm not going to say there's not a sale. I'm not going to say the price hasn't dropped some, but look at what you're getting from them for the same price, or for about the same setup. You're getting 8,000, and there's the delivery with liftgate is only $45. Um, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. If you're gonna spend that much on a big box, that's a pretty good deal. Um, and I didn't see. I'm not gonna go pouring through far enough, um, to see how much this specific one is. But I'm guessing this can't be more than like, you know, I hate to say 2 grand, but I'm thinking somewhere between like 1,500 and 2 grand. It looks to be about 46 inches, maybe. Yeah, probably about that. It's not a huge box, so like it depends on what you're looking at. It depends on the quality you're trying to get, but you see the fit and finish on this is better than anything Harbor Freight's offering. So I do like that though. I do like that a lot. Sorry about that. Little infinite glitch for you. Strictly toolboxes. Tool vault. That's interesting. I too love foam, but hate working with it, so I didn't. What is that supposed to mean? Is he using what kind of clamshell did you get? I don't understand this one so much. Huh. I mean, what are those, Craftsman? Is it Craftsman? Yeah. Oh, come on. Emergency 10 mil. Okay, that's funny. Haha. But what do you? I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. You got. I mean, I'm assuming you're a professional of some type, but I'm not impressed, and I don't think most people would be. You basically just took a decent, we'll call it decent, Craftsman set. Maybe this is like one of those little box things with the drawers. Maybe those kind of look like drawers, and he took them out and just no. And then he's got it next to like a snap-on, 3/8 flex head, long handle, and some other. Yeah, I don't know what this guy does, but that's not impressive. As far as a toolbox setup, that you just took the plastic inserts and you're wasting a bunch of space and, um, yeah, I don't know what he does, but that's not the idea of toolbox organization. Even I wouldn't really do that to my toolbox. What screwdriver bit removes these? You're not supposed to. They're tamper resistant. I think, I don't, well, there's probably something that can. One-way screw remover. Let's see what this is. Because I've not seen it. Okay, hold on. Okay. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but yeah, you get a special screwdriver, some kind of special tips to grab into that to remove it. I mean, yeah, I kind of figured there was probably um, an actual screwdriver bit for that, but yeah, they're one-way screws. They're tamper resistant or security bits. I see a lot of those on like urinal pieces for some reason. Like someone's gonna come in there and take the doors off or the walls off of the toilet. I don't know. I've never quite figured out why that's the one place they seem to be used so often. Oh, what is this made by Masterforce? Some kind of adjustment. I don't know. Offhand. The end of it almost looks plastic. It's to grab something. Punch holder? Oh, it's a punch and chisel holder. That's cute. So you don't smack your hand. Alright. That answers it. I mean... Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But I'm sure there are other ways to do it. I've always liked the punches with the big wide handle and the lip around the top. Those seem to be my favorite. I mean, obviously you have to be using a bigger chisel to do that in most cases, the ones that come with them built in. But those are my favorite. Those are nicer. Even if you're using a small sledge, they're going to help protect your hand from getting whacked. That's always been my go-to anyways. Oh boy. Somebody broke their calipers. What brand are they? Oh, they're like no name. Of course they broke. Yeah. I wouldn't even, those don't even look like Harbor Freight. And this is funny. The top comment, at least that I see, you've unlocked the extra long measurements feature. It's a Bluetooth caliper set, guys. You just set the one end down there and you get your measurement. Bluetooth. That's so funny. Yeah. What are all of your tools worth? Isn't this what Renegade was asking us the other week? He was talking about selling a bunch of his tools, which is perfectly fine. So if you're looking for tools, get a hold of Renegade. You can find him on Instagram, Renegade's Garage. He, last I checked, is trying to liquidate a bunch of stuff. So if you're looking for something at a decent price, chances are he's going to come off of it, it seems. Yeah, unfortunately, I am not in the shopping market very much right now. Found them for $35 each pack. I know every comment in here better say where, 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 where. Found them on Facebook Marketplace, probably stolen. Okay, so it says probably stolen. Then it says somebody it's called like the reply feature or the quote feature, and they quoted the probably from that. He said you misspelled definitely, which is so true. Fell off the truck. Yeah, we've heard that before. But yeah, you ain't getting these for $35 a set. Somebody stole those. That's an old-fashioned curling iron? I don't know. I have no idea what that is. But you could do a restoration video on it, I'm sure. Clean it up, a little powder coat, good as new. Is that East Wing? Yeah. See, these are the hammers that I grew up with, and they're still kicking. This is the one thing. Okay, this is the one thing that I still, to this day, don't understand. How have we not made enough hammers yet? Hammers don't really go bad. Some do. Some get broken. Some you break the claw off the back. It takes a lot for something like that to happen, but it's possible. You know, as like the metal handles like this with that thin shape. How are they selling new hammers when hammers exist and they're in abundance? We've been making them for probably the better part of a decade in metal form. At, yeah, I'd almost guarantee we've been making metal hammers that long. Uh, they don't go bad. They still work. Like what is going on? How are people still buying hammers? I don't understand it. It you find an old hammer, it's just as good as a new hammer. I don't understand. We should have made enough by now, for sure. Scott here yet? Mastercraft, Dano, how dare you? I will say that is, and I've said this before, probably years ago. I don't know, but the Menards Mastercraft individual piece wall display that they have where you can buy the individual sockets like the old craftsmen used to do at Sears. And I think that was one of the better selling points of Craftsman. And I wish that, I don't know about what SK is doing now, but I wish some of these real, true American made companies would get back into stores, the stores that we do still have, and do that. If I need a specific socket, and that's all I need, mine broke, who knows, whatever, I found out I don't have it or I lost it. I want to go and just buy that. I don't want to buy a whole nother kit just to get one socket, you know? Um, so the Mastercraft wall of their sockets and other assorted goodies is one of the last bastions of that type that you can find. Now with Williams and some of these other companies online and things, you can find like an individual socket and stuff. That stuff still exists, but it's a lot more rare, and there's no like nice display. There's no nice list, and you can just go through and pick the 3/8, 10 millimeter long 6-point that you really want and get that. Like you have to kind of dig and find it. So some of the stuff is there online. I really like having the store to be able to go to and that display to look at the individual pieces to buy if I'm really only looking for something specific. Say you need one longer extension. I know that's a bad example because generally you can find like small extension sets and whatnot, but theirs is individual, and that's not in a whole lot of places anymore. So Mastercraft may not be the best thing in the world, but for that reason, I still like them because they're trying to pander to what some would consider to be like the old style of sales in their display where you can piecemeal what you need. Or if you're a young guy and you're just building up your set, you buy the stuff you need right now and you just keep building to it until you've built, a pretty comprehensive set of what you need to get by. Snappy got him again. He got the long 12-point boxed in set, millimeters. I almost wish we would just switch. I'm biased. I'm biased on the metric system because I worked for a Japanese company for the better part of 10 years. Um, and aside from a few things that were like, installed by contractors, from here, everything was metric down to the Allens, and everything. So we didn't have a whole lot of use for standard. I was one of the few guys that was smart enough to have some for when those things came up. But yeah, like truly, almost everything in that building was metric. All our measurements were metric. Everything. We measured everything in millimeters, and it was kind of nice. I won't lie, to not have to worry about the fractions and 5/16 of an inch and 7/8 and whatever have you. Um, it was really kind of nice and straightforward, and even the technical people uh, couldn't really get it wrong. If they didn't know how to read a tape measure, it didn't matter because we were using you know gauges and scales that were all in millimeters anyway. So everything was pretty straightforward, and everybody did so good. Tools and Trash stopped by uh, on the Wall of Fame, as always. It's good to see you, sir. I hope all is well in Nebraska. Hope the new job's going well. How is the new job going? Your new responsibilities, I hope, are treating you well. I know mine are kicking my ass on a daily basis. Sorry, Bill. Capri is doing some good stuff. Ulsa and Capri are sourcing from some of the same people. Work Pro can make some good stuff. Not all of their stuff is of superior quality, but they do have some gems out there. Um, Michael Pro puts out some. It's odd, man. They haven't really gained the popularity that they deserve yet. But the stuff that they do put out, those wrenches um, that I gave away, uh, those are different, and they may not be for everyone, but the few people that I have seen actually review them really like them. I want to say they were standard. Why do I want to say that? I really do want to say they were standard. I'd have to go back, but I think they were standard. And that was one of the few kind of downfalls to them. You would really want like a metric set, and I don't know if they had one, but they were really nice. And then the shallow socket set, which is more shallow than some of the other shallow sets, and they're so nice, and the finish is so good. Honestly, at first, just looking at them by themselves, I didn't realize they were shallow until I really started looking at them, and that's when I realized. But between that and the flex head and that little 3/8 set, that's a great set. And then some of the other things that they're doing, their T handles for the 3/8 socket drive. They're trying some stuff that not everybody is doing, and their quality is, I believe it far surpasses their price point and their current market share. So they're going to be one of these things that will eventually kind of pick up and gain in popularity, much like Capri and Ulsa have, um, and companies like Tecton. Um, but yeah, Michael Pro's definitely one of those where you should check out what they have available. They're always coming out with something else, something a little different, something hopefully not like what most people have to offer. And so that's something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, there's a few companies out there that offer surprising quality for the price points. Yeah, it is. It is a lot sometimes. I get you on that. There are a couple days where I feel kind of not necessarily overwhelmed, but like by the end of the day, I kind of sit and look back and I think like, okay, what did I actually accomplish today? How much did I actually get done? And it's harder to gauge for me working at home primarily and handling things, kind of behind the scenes. Um, it's weird. It feels like sometimes I don't get a lot done, but then when I really start looking back at it and adding it up, and oh, I responded to this, and I figured out this issue, and I got this started, and this is underway, and I checked up on this and that. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but in the end, it ends up being a lot. So I try not to be too hard on myself. And whenever anything major comes up, like, as long as it's, more on the urgent list of stuff. Like I try to handle those big things like as soon as possible to knock them out. So that way, if I am lacking in anything, it's hopefully something small that I can take care of quickly. But yeah, the responsibilities are fun, but I do hate it when you get those last minute surprises or the hey, oh my god, we got to do this right now kind of thing. Like those, yeah, they still kind of are annoying, but you kind of get, you use that, you kind of circle the adrenaline back up into a positive vibe to try to fulfill that task or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting, but I'm glad to see that you're handling it well. um, I mean, that's very important in the scheme of things, so it's good to hear. Somebody got themselves a Craftsman pack out. uh, I've seen worse things, and hopefully they didn't spend an arm and a leg. Probably more so than I would have. But I mean, especially if you're just, I don't know what he's doing, but that's, I mean, I could feel pretty confident in something like this. I mean, I don't know what's in the top bag. I don't know what's in the bottom. We know what's in here, some sockets and stuff, and some other things. He's got a little kit strapped to the side there. I mean, he's got a nice little set here. So I could feel pretty confident going out and doing most things with a setup like this. If I had to be mobile, I'd be more than happy. Now I have a traveling tech under me. Um, he asked for the Milwaukee pack out, and me being a tech and realizing that quality matters, I mean, we went with the Milwaukee pack out. So that's what he got. He got the three-piece kit, and then eventually, I I don't know if it's specifically a laptop bag, but there's like a laptop bag or something like that, tech bag or something in the Milwaukee pack out system that kind of, I don't think it necessarily clips to it, but it kind of goes with it, something like that. And he had asked for that after the pack out, so he wouldn't have to carry a book bag and the pack out. And so I got that for him too. So, yeah, I mean, if you got to go Craftsman, I'm not hating on you. Can somebody tell me these measurements in millimeters? I'm restoring a very old, number 5 Dutch made plane, and the tote that came with it isn't the original. What? Measurements in millimeters? Oh, the whole thing? Oh, well, bro, conversions, like, yikes. I mean, I don't have a chart on me, but that seems like a simple Google search. I'm not going to try to go through all that. Oh, uh-oh. Handmade Halloween themed axe. Why? Oh, like Halloween, like Michael Myers? Yeah, I'm not going to watch that. We're not going to watch that. Pneumatic. Uh, I mean, I'm going to say hacksaw, jigsaw. It's not really a jigsaw, but um, pneumatic hacksaw. Ooh, you can throw files on that? I did not know that. That's interesting. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's more for like you're doing like heavy sheet metal or fabrication and stuff. That's not, most people are gonna opt for. I mean, I guess you could do it. Yeah, do a lot of woodworking. Even though I work for a body shop as a parts guy. Yeah, see, these are what you're gonna see more for like cutting cars apart when you're doing body work, doing sheet metal work, stuff like that. Um, you could do battery operated, but in some of that stuff, you're going to be running through so many batteries, it's just easier to just drag an airline out there. It's the same reason a lot of shops are still heavy into pneumatic tools. If they haven't switched and then pawned all that cost off on their techs to buy their own battery operated tools, if they do still have a shop compressor, um, they're all about their pneumatic tools just because the service life of the tools are cheaper. Um, service life of the compressor is usually much more cost beneficial than, say, battery operated tools. The tools themselves last longer, the compressor lasts longer than your battery ever will. I mean, there's just so many positives to it, but a lot of people, out of convenience, just like those cordless tools. That's why they're gaining in popularity. Mm. All right, so that's gone. Um, that's a micro snap ring plier. That's actually pretty cool. I've never seen one that small. That's interesting. I wonder who makes that. All right, guys. I do need to cut off here. Unfortunately, I have a meeting for work at 10 o'clock that I got to go get ready for. I actually run the meeting, so lots of talking, all night it seems. But we'll go ahead and cut it off for the week there. Somebody screwed up their punch. Yeah. Can you sharpen it without losing its hardness? Not likely. They're tempered mostly on the outside. There might be a little bit inside that's tempered, but you're going to lose something and you're going to have a hell of a time trying to sharpen it. You need something harder than it is. Yeah, so that's about it. Anyhow, we will cut it off here. Oh, do they? Menards sells sets of those. That's nice to know. Anyhow, we'll cut it off there. Tools and Trash, thank you for stopping by. Dano, Bill Beckett, Larry, and everybody else. Josh, thank everybody for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Coming by, hanging out, seeing what's going on with me, which is next to nothing. But I will see you guys at minimum next week.